Hello there, folks. I just want to draw your attention to this article that was published in The Independent yesterday. It reads, staff at asylum reception centre ordered to paint over welcoming pictures for children. And it claims that Robert Jenrick, the immigration minister, who, by the way, always was quite an appalling individual, but seems to be getting even worse under Braverman. Her behaviour seems to be contagious to anyone around her. It's most disgusting. Well, apparently Jenrick wanted it to be made clear the asylum centre was a law enforcement environment and not a welcome centre. It is claimed. So I'll read you some more of the article before I give you a Tory response to it. A wholly inadequate Tory response, I should just add. The immigration minister ordered staff at an asylum reception centre to paint over pictures of cartoons and animals to ensure children did not feel welcomed, it is claimed. Robert Jenrick allegedly told staff the pictures, quote, must be removed, unquote, while also urging workers to take down welcome signs with colourful branding. Mr. Jenrick wanted it to be made clear the centre was a, quote, law enforcement environment, unquote, and, quote, not a welcome centre, unquote, it is claimed. Enver Solomon, CEO of the Refugee Council, said Mr. Jenrick gave the order as he visited the Kent Asylum Intake Unit earlier this year. He told the newspaper, quote, the immigration minister said pictures of cartoons and animals must be removed and that staff should make sure they are painted over as they give an impression of welcoming, which Mr. Jenrick did not want to show. This demonstrates that the hostile environment has become so entrenched that today we have lost sight of humanity, unquote. Mr. Solomon told a Refugee Week event hosted last week by the Wiener Holocaust Library that the pictures are designed to put lone children at ease. He described meeting two Afghan boys at the centre who were, quote, absolutely terrified, unquote, after a, quote, horrifying journey, unquote, to the UK, which involved travelling across Europe and then into the UK boarding a small boat to cross the Channel. It said the department does, quote, all it can, unquote, to ensure children are safe and supported while trying to place them with local authorities. And there he is with a great big smirk on his face. Where do you begin with such unpleasant cruelty? Where does it stem from in his mind? So now let's have a look at a wholly inadequate Tory response that took place last night on Iain Dale's Cross Question on LBC. This is Paul Holmes, Conservative MP for Eastleigh. Now yes, whilst he is a Tory MP and the 2019 intake, I do actually have to give him the smallest amount of credit because he was one of the few to resign from their posts following the publishing of the Sue Gray report, citing a toxic culture in Downing Street. He was a parliamentary private secretary in the Home Office at the time. However, his response to this allegation against Robert Jenrick is typically complacent of a Tory looking out for their colleague. The question, as put to him by Iain Dale, is so easy to answer, even a child would know what to say. Something along the lines of, Iain, if that's true, that is a disgrace, and not the message we wish to be sending. Instead, we got this.
Right, let's go to the first caller. It's Richard in Gateshead. Hello, Richard.
Hi, Ian. Welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
My question to the panel is, Ian, after Robert Jenrick's visit to a refugee holding centre in Kent, where he instructed staff to take the welcome sign down and paint over the cartoon pictures on the walls for the children, is how low can this government go in dehumanising these poor people?
Paul Holmes, I've read the basics of this story. I mean, I can't really imagine that any politician would go to an asylum centre and ask for this to happen, but apparently Robert Jenrick, the immigration minister, did.
Ian, I thought you'd come to to me on this one first. I don't know whether he did or not, to be honest with you. There is questions as to whether he did, and your caller, Richard, is right to ask the question. But what Robert Jenrick is absolutely committed to doing is making sure that we have an immigration system that's fit for purpose, and make sure that we have people come in who have the right to come in, but have a very strong asylum system that does detract the illegal migration that we're seeing across the channel. And that's absolutely, as you know, one of the Prime Minister's priorities in making sure that those numbers are reduced. But as for the specific question, I don't know if that's the case. It's not something I'd focus my time on. But if that has happened, then that's happened.
Now, I think he was close to saying something critical there, but chickened out at the last second. If that has happened, well, that has happened. What? If that has happened, that has happened? Come on. What's the harm in saying, if that has happened, that's unacceptable? What? What is the harm? Who are you hurting? Robert Jenrick's pride? Robert Jenrick going to come up to you in Parliament tomorrow and go, oh, you were very mean about me on LBC. I heard you were very mean. I'm just looking around all over the place to find a Tory MP that will say something, that will stand up and say something in public about how they are treating asylum seekers, children. But there's nothing. How sad is this? That's as close as I've found. If that happened, that happened. Sickening stuff from the immigration minister. Even Iain Dale can't quite believe it. And yes, Iain Dale is a Tory, but he's one of those more older-fashioned Tories where there's still something in him that knows the difference between right and wrong. Sometimes it's hard to tell with him, but this new lot, they're just dead inside. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.